Welcome to Unit 5, which is proportions and non-proportional relationships. And so we want to dive right into that. Let me pull up the slide deck for you to take a look at. Load that up. Of course, this is on our Canvas page for you to access this in Unit 5. As I said, proportional and non-proportional relationships. This is a heavy unit. There are a lot of TEKS in this, two readiness TEKS, and I want to say four or five, I believe five supporting. So it's a fairly lengthy unit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the slideshow. So you can see grade 8, unit 5 overview of proportional and non-proportional functions. TEKS covered in the unit. 8.5G is a readiness standard identifying functions from graphs. 8.4B is a readiness standard identifying functions from mappings. 8.5B is supporting. 8.5H is supporting. 8.5F is supporting. 8.9A is systems of equations are supporting. And then direct variations is 8.5E. Unpacking the TEKS, of course, you can rely on the TRS guide to help you in that process. But basically, 8.5G, identifying function using sets of ordered pairs, tables, mappings, and graphs. So you have to recognize what functions are. The knowledge that students will need to take in as our function sets, ordered pairs, tables, mappings, and graphs. Basically, they're determining if a relation is a function given a set of ordered pairs, tables, mappings, and graphs. The problems that I put up here are from 2023. Again, the 2024 as of this date has not been released, but once they are up, that will be put on the next slide. But you can see the table shows y as a function of x, which ordered pairs can belong to this function. It's a multi-select. You can see there's also a second problem that does as a mapping. 8.4B is also a readiness standard. This is graphing proportional relationships and then interpreting the rate as the slope of the line that models the relationship. So you're getting into slope and unit rate. You can see the knowledge of the nouns partake there and being what the kids are going to have to be able to do for you. These are both very important as they are readiness. The problems come from 2023. The example there, question 10, 15 books that have the same width. The combined width for all 15 books is 12 inches. Which graph has a slope that best models the width of each book? So you're looking at rise over run, of course. The second example, bus travels 25 miles in 30 minutes. Which graph has a slope that best represents the number of miles per minute? So you're looking at unit rate, slope as a unit rate on the second problem from 2023. 2024, I will put up as soon as we get those. Then you get into the, I'm sorry. But then you get into the supporting standards. 8.5B representing linear, non-proportional situations with tables and graphs and equations in the form of y equal mx plus b, where b is not equal to 0. Obviously, if b is equal to 0, you're talking about a proportion. You can read through the parts there as we break down. Problem here is a multi-select, and y's value is 3 more than twice the opposite of x. Which of these represents that relationship? So I've got to be able to go y equals 2x plus 3, and then be able to identify which of these represent that. This is one that a lot of the students missed. Only 22% of the students received full credit on this particular problem. 8.5H, identify examples of proportionals and non-proportional functions that arise from mathematical and real-world problems. Taking you onward, the example here, describe which situation describes a non-proportional relationship. So you'd have a B value to begin with. 8.5F, distinguish between proportional and non-proportional situations using tables, graphs, and equations. This is y equal kx, what you typically see for your proportions, and then y equal mx plus b slope intercept. obviously we can graph from both, K being the slope. Which table shows a proportional relationship? Of course, the students will need to know that the graph passes through 0, 0. Okay. Supporting standard, identify and verify the values of x and y that simultaneously satisfy two linear equations in the form y equal mx plus b. So basically what you're doing here is you're graphing two equations and seeing the intersection to look for the solution xy, the point or the ordered pair that solves both of the equations. Onward and upward, the example there, you can see it's graphed and trying to ask for which is the ordered pair that's the solution. 8.5e, solving problems involving direct variation. Again, my expertise is more algebra related, so I like to do these using the direct variation equation, y equal kx. But I do know your students coming from 7th grade are very well versed in proportions and setting up and doing cross multiplication. So you have a couple of ways that you can tackle 8.5e. You can see the example there. Data. So these are heavily tested. As I said, this is kind of an important one. You can see the data across the board. We've done reasonably well on the star problems, but you can see sometimes our summatives have been a little bit of a struggle for the kids. Obviously paying attention to the two heaviest tested, which are the readiness TEKS at the bottom. We've kind of flatlined a little bit there. They're not bad results, but we certainly could pick those up a little bit. So the challenge for you is to get the kids to a new level. Vocabulary, very heavy in this one. I'll let you read through that rather than take your time. Misconceptions, again, another one where the kids can make a lot of mistakes, with x and y values and slope intercept and proportions. It can be a challenge. Vertical alignment, this goes very heavily, we'll go back, with 6.6a, identifying independent and dependent quantities from tables and graphs. So there is some exposure. The proportionality side of it with 7th grade is also important. You can see our distribution here, 8.5G, one of our readiness TEKS. We're spending 7 days on that. It's got a lot of different applications. You do it from from graphs, from mappings, from ordered pairs, from tables. So there's a lot of ways you need to look at that. We're spending a lot of time on that, breaking it down. 8.4B is a readiness TEK, a day and a half on that. It just kind of supports 8.5G. And then the rest of those 8.5H, 8.5F are supporting. They're 1 day each. 8.9A, which is the system of equations, that's 2 days that we spend on that. Perhaps a day on talking about graphing, perhaps a day talking about the solutions. 8.5E is also a supporting with 2 days. PSAT testing does fall during this period of time, and Unit 5 assessment will take 1 day. So we're spending, I believe, 17 days total on all of Unit 5. It's a big unit. Instructional strategies, this is a huge one. We've talked about it before with Desmos. Desmos is so good with graphing that this is a huge one for you to utilize Desmos. And that's my instructional choice later on that we'll talk about. But a lot of Desmos curriculum here. Language supports, identifying the function, solving the system, solve the direct variation, proportional or non-proportional are just some things to get you started with your students. Resource showcase, I chose a Desmos here because again, Desmos is so good for allowing you to do things graphing wise, but this one is function or not a function. And so we'll give it a second here to load up. My internet at home here seems to be a little bit slow, but this is from the Math 8 Desmos curriculum. What I like about this is that there are slides that are comprehensive. You can use this, I'm advocating, you can use the slides as your instructional tool because you can start with the warm-up slide, have that up on the board when the kids come in. That's the one that the kids will start on. You can do your direct instruction then from slide 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even give them an assignment when you get to slide 8 or their activity in class, slide 9, and then of course slide 10, 11, 12, basically get into that cool down or the check for understanding or your exit ticket, whatever you want to call it. What I also like about this is it's reinforced with practice problems. So you can click on the practice problems if you want to give out of class assignment, or if you want to use them as your in-class assignment, maybe doing some small group work or individual work. There is so much flexibility here, but I just want to show you the practice problems are so solid. So great piece to use the Desmos for the direct instruction, and then come back and use the problems that they supply as maybe your assignment piece or your student activity. That's kind of your call, but I love the way they've done this now. So we'll move you onward. Get out of here just a second. Okay. And back to our slideshow. So that basically covers it. You can see there is an acceleration piece in there. Again, Desmos does some good things, so you can kind of play with that for A4B, which is a readiness, and you can do some accelerated work or extension with that. And then, of course, you can see the calendar there. We're starting this unit actually prior to quarter 2. The last week of quarter 1 is also on unit 5, and then we finish it on the first part of November. So it's pretty much dominating your month of October for the most part. And then, of course, we're always available for consultation, help, resources, whatever you need. Let us know. You can contact any of us. You might have a strategist in your building, but Unit 5 is a big one. So take your time, make sure the kids get it down, and good luck, and let me know if you need anything.